about women aspirants across the political divide. The question on the social, is there a woman that has already won over your vote? Is there any political candidate, woman, that has already won your vote? Of course, when it comes to women rep, there's several options there. When it comes to MCAs, when it comes to governor, when it comes to senator, even DP. Of course, it's a package deal when it comes to the DP. But is there a woman that has your vote come 9th August? Let us know, SpiceFM KE. And speaking of aspirants, I would like to welcome Cindy Katilemundo. How are you today?
I'm good. A little cold, but I'm good. It took a bit of a while to get here, but I'm great.
Please come closer to the microphone. You're a bit far. I'm glad you made it. Nice to meet you. I walked out of my house and I saw this humongous, truck, that had your posters all over on it. Mm-hmm. Is this your first campaign? Is this your first sort of sojourn into politics?
Absolutely, it is. It is my first actually to vie.
Wow.
And that truck you're talking about, by the way, was donated by somebody who called me up and said, and they looked for me.
Yes.
I need to give you this. This is what I want to give you. I want to support you. So I was completely chuffed. I was like, wow.
Why MP for Dagority North, which is my constituency? Because I'm asking not on behalf of a friend. You usually say, I'm asking on behalf of a friend. No, I am asking for myself. Today I'm going to grill you because I want to make sure the best MP gets that position.
Well, it's been a long journey.
Yes.
And, I did consider, what position did I want? And I took a look and I kind of, did a lot of research on what the responsibilities were for an MCA, for an MP, for a women rep, for a senator. And, let's stop right there.
Yes.
And I decided MP was for me. I have a strong interest in legislation.
Yes.
I think oversight is one of the key issues that is required not just at a constituency level, but also at a national level. And I think it's important to, whatever job that you do in government, one of the key things is that whatever it is that one does when they have that position, they do it in the interest of not just their constituency, but also of all Kenyans.
The greater good.
The greater good. And therefore, I selected to vie for MP.
So before I get into a lot of questions, in a nutshell, who is Cindy Katilemundo?
Olivia, Cindy is you, and you are Cindy. And the fact that you're a woman, we are even more alike than anything else. Yes. But I am African, I am Kenyan. I have family, and professionally speaking, on my education, I hold an MBA. I previously worked in the hospitality industry, and I decided, change of career, and I got into human resources. And I've been in human resources for over 20 years. I think I've been lucky enough, and perhaps because I had the soft skills, good people skills, good leadership skills. I did have, good top positions. I was head of human resources for the regional delegation of the International Committee of the Red Cross, 10 years. Worked at the headquarters for slightly over a year, in charge of East and West African delegations. So I was the HR advisor. And I came back home to the same position that I had, head of human resources, regional delegation. And then one day after 10 years, I decided, can't do any more here. I need to move. And I resigned. I didn't have a job. I had a little baby. I had just lost her father. And 40 days later, I was called by the UN, and I had applied for a consultancy, and they gave me a full-time job, heading the human resources unit with UNDP Somalia. And long story short, I've been to quite a number of countries: Nigeria, Zimbabwe, Sudan, in fact, when it was being separated, when they went through the referendum. And I was part of a team that was selected by what we call the Bureau of Crisis Prevention and Recovery, BCPR, to go and assist the Juba field office become a fully fledged country office.
Yes.
And we were just 4 in the team, and they thought it was going to take some time, and within about 3 months we were done.
Quick one. People have said that politics isn't corporate. People have said that you need to have really thick skin to get into this arena. And of course, as you know, and you have a very, very mind-bogglingly impressive CV.
Thank you.
But the places in which you've worked are very structured, have very clear policies in place, have a very, how can I say, direct or transparent mode of operation.
Yes.
Why politics now? Because I don't think there are any murkier waters than Kenyan politics.
Well, that's Kenyan politics, and Kenyan politics has been made like that by Kenyan politicians. There is politics in everything. There is politics in your house. There is politics in the UN. There is politics, in international NGOs. There's politics in private sector. And when you talk about structures, what are we talking about? We are talking about, are there rules and regulations? Are there procedures? So I want to answer you, they are procedures and they are rules and regulations. And the first and foremost, most important, aspect is the Constitution of Kenya. That is the principal guideline and, directive. Though it gives you, in fact, very clear procedures. How do you do A, B, C, D? So it's not that there's no structure. There is that the politicians that we put into parliament choose to ignore them. And then on top of that, to make it worse, is that we, the people, don't hold them accountable. And why do we not hold them accountable? Because they have chosen not to be transparent to us upon what it is that we have actually paid them to do. So we need to change we need to turn the tables around. For quite some time, we've complained. I've complained about politics, and I look at things that are being done. I think, well, how could they do that? Did they think this through? How could they pass this bylaw? How could they? And it's really tiring. And I said to people who'd come, we'd have a drink together, have dinner together, sit together, my family and friends. I said, okay, guys, I don't want to hear it anymore. I don't want to complain. I want to ask myself, besides complaining, what is it that I can do? Should I go and join, a group of people who advocate for transparency, advocate for accountability? And I have done a little bit of that. I've been in Parliament and I've spoken during public, when they had public forums where there was need for public participation. And I am shocked by the lack of numbers of people who step into Parliament. There are people who don't know that they can step into Parliament.
I didn't know. Mumbai, did you know you could step into Parliament anytime? None of us knew that.
You can step into Parliament. Nobody's going to stop you. At the gates, they check whether, you're carrying any device or whatever it is. And, and they let you go. And that's it. You go. They announce, actually, every, so often they say public participation. We are discussing this bill and people are supposed to attend. The public are supposed to, but people don't do it. And so you find certain institutions, small little NGOs, little
activist groups.
Exactly, interest groups who go and and speak on behalf of all of us. But you can do it, and I can do it, and so can she. And we need to know that. So one of the things I'm going to do for you, Olivia, let me tell you, is do a little bit of civic education. We need to enlighten people so that they know what are their rights and what they can do, because there's a lot that we don't do.
Spice.
The political divide. We are bringing people together because they are passionate about winning over your vote. On SpiceFM KE, on our socials, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. Is there a woman on the ballot that has already won you over? Is there a woman on the 9th that you plan to vote for? MP, women rep, what do we have? Senator, governor. Yes, we have MCAs. Welcome back, Cindy. Yeah, I've got Cindy Katilemundo. She is vying for the Dagoretti North MP position. And why the Ukweli Party, Cindy?
It's been a journey, like I said to you.
Yeah.
I actually looked for a party that spoke to me.
Yeah.
That was a reflection of what I feel strongly about in terms of my values and my principles. And I visited quite a few before I got to Ukweli, because that was the last stop. I was really at the tail's end. I needed to find a party because it was months to actually getting...
Was vying as an independent ever an option for you?
I never really thought about that. I didn't really think about that. I know it's also very expensive.
Yes.
And I was cautious about that because I didn't have a lot of finances, to my disposal. And so I was looking for a party. I think it's always good as a, first timer to go, with a party. And the people I spoke to all said, no, try and go with a party. Don't go independent, even if you have loads of money, which I didn't. I want to tell you this.
Yes.
Ukweli Party is the only party that asked me. The day I wrote them an email, they said, thank you very much for, contacting us. This is a list of things that we'd like from you. 1, a complete full CV. 2, police clearance. 3, all your education certificates certified, all of them. They wanted my tax compliance. They wanted references from 3 or 4 people, I can't remember. They put me through a complete oral interview.
Yes.
They gave me a questionnaire. I think there must have been 10 questions.
Yes.
And it was like 4 or 5, 6 pages. And I had to fill in.
Yes.
Why are you stepping into the political space if it is your first time?
Who founded the Ukweli Party?
It was founded by the former Chief Justice Willy Mutunga.
Yes.
And a lot of people ask me, so is he active? And
Did you meet him?
Did I what?
Have you met him?
Oh, I have.
Okay.
I have met him, but not through Ukweli.
Yes.
In other circles, I have met him.
Okay.
But he's not... he's the founder, and that's that. He's not active in it as such. I'm sure perhaps he gives advice, but that's basically it.
Yes.
You don't see him in the office. It's a little office. It's nothing, grandeur or anything. No. But he's the one who founded it. Now, a lot of people ask, we've never heard of it. And I say, really? So if I tell you Boniface Mwangi?
Yes. I've heard of Boniface Mwangi.
All right. Boniface Mwangi ran on a Ukweli Party ticket, I think in the last election for Starehe.
Yes.
And
he lost.
Exactly, he did lose.
Yeah.
But, you don't get into the race to, you get into the race, you could win, you could lose, and that's it. And there's so many things I'm telling you to learn.
Yes.
So much.
Yes.
I've learned so much. I can't believe it. I'm like, wow, I thought I knew a lot, but that's absolutely obsolete.
Did you vote in the last elections?
I did.
Okay. Have you, apart from now, as a member of the Ukweli Party, have you been a member of any other political party in your history?
No, not at all.
You don't think you need to have been in some party, to understand what's happening, the lay of the land, before you just go and decide to go into public office?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I really don't think that. It's a question for me to think about, but I don't think so.
Okay.
Because when you enter into a party just to kind of, swim through the warm waters a little bit before you get, into the ocean, etc., each party is different.
Yes.
It has its different, each of them have their different values, etc.
Yes.
So that's, I think that, but it's a vehicle. For me, I see it as a vehicle. And I think it's important that when one joins a party, ask yourself, what is it that you want? Why are you stepping into that space? Or rather, for me, that was what I did.
Yes.
And a lot of people ask me, why didn't you go with Wiper? I think, Wiper? It doesn't speak to me. Why didn't I go with ODM? And I said, no, it still doesn't speak to me. And I'm not opposed to any of them. And I'm not saying they're bad. They just didn't speak to me on a very personal level.
Yes.
What is it that really touched me? The change that I wanted to see, I needed to see that in the party. And I saw that in Ukweli.
Quick one. Who are you planning to oust? Who is there?
There
Who's
is
the person?
nobody.
No.
Simba Arati has gone. He's in Kisi, running for governor.
Yes.
So it's an open playing field, and it's an open playing field. We are 14, 10, 11, 14.
I like how you
and I'm like,
14, 1, 4,
what's
10, 11,
this?
14.
We were more.
Yes.
And a lot of those, actually, the reason I think we became more is because certain parties actually went through their primaries and either zoned or, people didn't win and they felt strongly that they had, many followers or good backing.
Yes.
And then they went independent. And so this independent thing has just taken, this particular cycle by storm. Hence, therefore, you saw, of course, the list of 47 presidential candidates. Where are they today?
We don't know, and we don't want to talk about them right now. What I do want to talk about is, where did your predecessor fall short? Which gap are you hoping to fill? Apart from the vacant seat, of course.
I think Simba Arati could have done a lot more in terms of being transparent, a lot more in terms of having the communities participate in how, in the types of projects that were undertaken, being accountable to the amount of money that was, he was responsible, close to, 100 million a year. So, in 5 years, it's, it's
what
500
did he do?
million.
I live there. I'm in Dagoretti North. What did he do for us?
I didn't see too much. And this is the thing. People say, well, he did the roads. And I'm thinking, the roads are not his responsibility.
So that road, 100 Mbazi, is not his responsibility.
It is not the MP's responsibility.
Okay.
The MP, of course, can engage the public, public service provider.
Yes.
That's the Kenya Highway, the Kura and all those, and say, we need this road done.
Yes.
But that's not their responsibility, and they don't have actually the funds to do it.
So tell me, where I may say that he didn't do X, Y, and Z, maybe it wasn't his mandate. What is the mandate then? What falls under his responsibility?
So there are two key things, and where actually an MP is given funds,
yes,
and is told, you decide how it's supposed to be done, what it is you want to do. And that's education, and the next is security. So they really have quite a lot that they can do.
When you say security, I used to be part of the 5 a.m. club, meaning I used to be at the gym at 5 a.m. And I had to either get a taxi there because I don't drive, right? Or I had to get an escort. And the gym is literally 400 meters away. Right. So when you say security, are you talking about the lighting? Are you talking about having people walking around, making sure we're safe? What do you mean by security?
It is all that you have mentioned. It's about lighting. It's about ensuring that there is some kind of, give you a good example, the MP could actually partner, or rather the communities could partner with the police and say, could we have what we call neighborhood watches? And we have, a little bit of that within Dagoretti North, in certain wards such as Kilimani, Kileleshwa, but it needs to be extended further. I drove actually a couple of weeks back. I drove at 4 o'clock in the morning to Thika Road for an interview by a TV station, GBS TV. And thank you, guys. I crossed 3 constituencies. Ours was completely dark.
Wait.
Dagoretti North was completely dark. There were no street lights working. I mean, 1 out of every 12, perhaps, I wouldn't even say 10, was working. And then I crossed over to Westlands, and all of a sudden, boom, lights. And I thought, wow.
Yeah.
And, I got to Muthaiga, crossed over, and guess what? I was in Kasarani, and I thought, there are lights. What happened? Why is it that we don't have? Dagoretti North is the largest constituency in the Nairobi County.
Yes.
It houses the president.
Ah, okay. All right. That's good to know. Both his houses.
Both, by the way.
Exactly.
Yeah. Exactly.
All right.
Past, current, and, future.
Yes. Yeah, because I can run to State House. Okay.
Yes, exactly. It has the Nairobi University. Most of the campuses are in Dagoretti North.
Yes.
We have Uhuru Park. We have all the main big kind of churches. They are in Dagoretti North. How is that we are not the best? That we should be offering the best? Serena, the big hotels, a lot of them are in Dagoretti North. But we have, of course, the low-income areas, Kibera, Gatina, Kabiru. And it's like they live in another world, and we cannot leave them behind.
Education. What are you going to be doing for education?
I think there is so much that can be done. Mary works for me. One of her children actually walks to Westlands to go to school.
Why?
Because the schools in Dagoretti North were too full.
Okay.
So she didn't have it. And I know a lot of children who live in the low-income areas and even in the middle class cross over to Kibra to go to school. Why is that? We haven't had a new school built in Dagoretti North in the past, and I say over 10 years.
Could that be a population issue? Could that be a resource issue with regards to land? Because a lot of things that you talk about with regards to Dagority North, there were a lot of government houses that were privatized, and where you had 1 or 2 government houses, you now have 30 apartment blocks.
Right.
So there are now, as opposed to 5 or 10 children, right, like 200 children. They're supposed to go to a school nearby. So what can actually be done about that in a practical sense?
So let me give you an example. And this is, I mean, if I talk to you about it, you're going to say, oh, yeah, of course. When a permit, building permit is being requested for, you already know that. And that information is with the constituency.
Yes.
So you already know we are not going to have one house that houses 4 or 5 or 6 people. It's going to be a block of apartments, 4-story, 5-story, anything beyond that, by the way, is illegal. Okay. Because of the zoning.
Oh, anything beyond 4 or 5 stories in Dagority North is illegal.
Yes.
So as MP, are some buildings coming down?
Well, now we have to take a look and ask, okay, how did we get here?
Yes.
And I know some of them have been taken to task by the,
Astor.
Kiwana.
There's a building on my street, Astoria.
Yes.
That is not 4-5 floors.
Exactly. It's like, I think 20 something.
Yes.
But it shouldn't be there. And it got, by the way, permission,
Yes.
but it didn't go through the right channels.
Okay.
I'm not so sure that it went through NEMA.
Okay.
Which it should. So it went and got some government, stamp of approval.
I didn't know that.
Yes, you need to join Kiwana. You need to join the Kilimani Project Foundation. That's what you need to do.
I'm going to do that as we play some Michelle Williams.
Spice.
Still, man.
She is awesome, and happy birthday, Michelle. Yes, today is her birthday. Sending her a shout out, and you are listening to Olivia Otieno. Saturday's women host music by women and only women guests. As you've heard, I have the amazing Cindy Katilemundo. I have Fire Mama. Wait, you have some on the socials. Everybody started calling you Njambi, Mamata, Njambi all the way. Oh, yo, I see it. You're getting lots of love. You're getting lots and lots and lots of love. It's all about women aspirants. Which woman has already won you over? Have any of them actually won you over already? Women rep, MP, senator, governor, even DP. But that is a package deal. Right, that is a package deal. So please be aware. Let us know on the socials, SpiceFM KE. Cindy, you're part of the Ukweli party.
I am.
And you were telling me that the reason you chose it because it just speaks to you.
Correct.
What is it that you feel? Education, security. Is there any mandate for the MP under health?
Sorry, under what?
Health.
Under health?
Yes.
No, actually, health is a national aspect.
Yes.
But there are things that the MP can always do, really partner with private sector, NGOs, international NGOs, and actually do something. So they are allowed to do that. But most importantly, they need to, I think that, an MP needs to actually engage national government to really institute what it is that national government is supposed to and what has promised and money that has been spent on it already.
Water and sanitation.
Oh, that's a difficult one.
Those impact health quite a lot.
Oh, that's a difficult one. The other day I walked, incognito into Gatina, and you see, little pipes which are less than half an inch. That's the water pipe, and the drainage can fit me, as wide as I am, as tall as I am, which is not much. But, and the drainages are horrible because it has not just the waste that comes from the house, dirty water. It has raw sewer.
Oh, no.
And that's really bad. I'm even surprised that we've never had a breakout.
Yes.
And if we had, God forbid, it's really not nice.
Yes.
And I keep thinking, but actually we could use that waste.
How?
Make biogas.
Njambi.
Right.
You've been in the media for quite some time.
Yes.
I think a lot of people banded together when you were unwell,
right,
to rally support and to help you, overcome endometriosis.
Yes.
Have you overcome it?
Yes, I have. That's why I'm seated here.
Aren't we so grateful? Aren't we
Yes.
so grateful? And you are vying for Dagority South MP as an independent.
Right.
Was there no party that spoke to you?
I didn't find a party that, I could identify with my ideals and values, and I decided to go as an independent because of my progressive thought.
Yes.
Yes.
Which are?
My progressive thoughts in terms of development for my constituency.
Yes.
Access to bursaries, provision of water and sanitation, and of course, bringing an end to insecurity and providing employment for young people.
Tell me about Dagority South, because I am a resident. My constituency is Dagoretti North, but we are neighbors.
Right.
The other day we were heading into the office and I cross from Dagoretti North into Dagoretti South. Then, of course, I head off into the bypass and make my way to the Standard Group. Exactly. So tell me about your constituency.
Well, my constituency has a population of 114,000 people. It's a beautiful constituency, born and raised there. So it's home to me and it's home for me. So the challenges we face in Dagority South, like I explained earlier, access to water. We haven't had water in years.
But all the blue trucks are there. I see all the blue trucks in Dagority.
Why shouldn't we have water?
Why do you not have water? I mean, people, I thought, for lack of a better term, when I end up kuchota maji.
No. That's water on sale. That's water for sale. Why shouldn't we have that water piped into our houses?
Exactly.
That is water for sale.
Yes. It's not for free.
I've always thought that there's a
water
well. No, a well. I've always thought there's a well somewhere. They're getting the water from there.
No, get that from the well. They get it from the boreholes and fill up the trucks, and they come to sell to us.
Or, by the way, the water pipes that actually where the water should be leading to your house.
Yes,
they lock it, and then they take the water and they come and sell it to you. And that's the truth. It is really a cartel.
Okay.
Yes.
Because I had a lot of questions on that.
Right.
You said born, raised. Do you currently live in Dagoretti South?
Yes, that's my home.
Okay. So tell me about the people. Why do you think it should be you vis-a-vis your opponents? Because we know that there are 14 aspirants for Dagoretti South. Do you know how many there are for North?
11.
11.
Right.
So,
Dagoretti North.
Yeah, for Dagoretti North, almost the same.
Right.
Why you, Njambi?
Because I have the lived experience and the challenges that people go through are challenges I have gone through, and I believe I have the chance to make the change, and I am the change that people believe in.
Quick one. What is the one single thing, given a magic? This is I was going to ask you this around 12:30, right? But I want to ask it now. That one thing, and this is for both of you, but I'm going to start off with Njambi. The one thing, if you had a magic wand and you could transform one thing, right, about Dagoretti South, which one would it be?
Unemployment. Okay. Because so many young people are unemployed. And, when people don't have finances where they can be financially independent, then they've lost hope. They have no means of income. They can't support their families. And then you see a rise in, crime.
What about yourself? What is the one thing you would change about Dagoretti North if you had a magic wand?
Yeah, I think Njambi's right. It's the same thing in Dagoretti North.
Yes.
But what would I do? Maybe take it from another perspective and really talk about how can we train these unemployed youth, particularly, even wazes. It doesn't matter, women, and give them skills that they can actually be able to do something that brings them some income. I wonder why we don't have a huge craft center, where we not just teach them, but then from there, actually, we can even export. So this is something that if I had, I would just, boom, do that. But a big, huge vocational center,
Unemployment, yes. What is currently manufactured in Dagoretti South, other than the fact I see this huge stretch of Ngong Road where you have all this artisans, right? And you talk about unemployment, but I see a lot of employment within that structure, but maybe that's just a facade.
Yeah.
What is being manufactured? And if it's not being manufactured there or a source of employment, what are some of the solutions you want to offer?
First of all, we must recognize the fact that Dagority is home of the arts, home of the arts and home of sports.
And the greatest radio presenters ever.
Exactly. You see, Njambi came from Dago, I came from Dago. I am the biggest reggae MC in this country. There's no other girl who's ever done what I've done. And I don't think there's anyone who's got a national appeal when it comes to reggae music as Njambi, if I am mama, right? And that's just a different, that's Njambi, the other side of Njambi.
Yes.
But Dagority is where I started from, and I started playing reggae right there. And I don't feel we've had facilities and resources allocated to the creative sector, which is a $1 billion industry, and can create so many opportunities for young people.
What is your predecessor, or what has your predecessor done with the funds that were allocated? Because I heard there's like 100 million shillings that goes into that kitty. So what have they been doing with that money?
I don't know, nothing. We haven't seen anything on the ground. But I do believe that if we create hubs, if we create opportunities where young people can come and create content, because content is king, Olivia.
Yes.
And you can see that right now, if you're creating content, you have an opportunity to employ more than 20 people. And that is... And, that is creating employment for young people. Sports. Look at our place, Dagority South, is home of some of the greatest footballers in this country. Dennis Olich came from Dagority South. People like Edward Karanja, people who were captains of Tusker for 10 years. We grew up looking at these people. We grew up looking at people like Shadrach Ateka. Why is it that we have not supported our football teams? Why is it that we are not reclaiming our sports grounds? Why is it that we're not recapiting our grounds? We used to play ball there.
Exactly.
And we grew up idolizing our peeps, and we grew up idolizing these guys. But, nothing has really been done. And so many young people want to play ball. So many young people want to get into the creative sector, but there's really no opportunity.
Spice.
Streaming homepage standardmedia.co.ke. How are you doing? I'm Olivia Otieno. This is 00 Direct every Saturday from 10 a.m. Tell me, which woman candidate has your vote? Doesn't matter which level. MCA, MP, Senator, Governor, even DP. Kwa sababu wako. And I am appealing to you today to vote Adada. Vote Adada. Tafadhali. I have two amazing women with me right now on 00 Direct. I have Fire Mama. I have Katilemundo. We're representing Dagoretti South and Dagoretti North. Apparently, I don't know anything about both constituencies. Nothing. Yeah? Of course, I'm Dago through and through. I was actually born at Nairobi Hospital. Where is Nairobi Hospital?
No, that's not Dagoretti.
That's not Dagoretti?
No.
Which constituency? It used to be.
But I think it's carved into now Langata.
Kibra.
Yeah, Kibra.
Yeah.
I was born in Kibra.
Yeah.
Actually, I was born in Nairobi Hospital, but you know what I mean, right? But
So you're a
currently,
ghetto girl.
I'm a Mumbi. Please stop calling me Mbabi.
Ghetto.
I'm a ghetto girl, according
Aren't we
to the
all
one and
ghetto
only
girls,
Njambi
by the way?
Koikai. What are you currently feeling with regards to the political atmosphere? Because both of you belong to parties without a presidential candidate. Right? And the fact is, they say no man is an island, but also no woman is an island.
Correct.
So with regards to affiliations and partnerships, how are you currently feeling about that? And I'll start off with you, Njambi.
For me, really, it's to, first of all, get into parliament.
Yes.
And whoever has the interest of my constituency at heart is someone I will be able to work with, and someone who I can believe in the ideals and the values in regards to my constituency, because my constituency comes first at the end of the day. And I do believe priorities and in terms of what my manifesto and agendas are for Dagoretti South, if the presidential candidate will work with me towards that, then I definitely will work with them.
What's the percentage of unemployment in your constituency?
Quite high, more than 50%.
More than 50%
Right.
unemployment.
Right.
Education level?
Education level, high school?
High school.
Right.
How many schools, government schools, and I'm going to ask you this as well, Cindy, how many government schools are within Dagoretti South?
Primary or high school?
Primary first and then high school.
Primary school, we have about 20,
Yes.
less than 20.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
And high school is also less than 20.
less than 20. You're talking about government schools.
Right.
Percentage of pupils, learners in those institutions, are they oversubscribed, in other words? Are they undersubscribed as a result of challenges, poverty, financial, etc.?
Just like any other public school,
Yes.
they're overwhelmed. And, when you have public schools in an area, and because of free primary education at the time, before it was scrapped, and now, we have students having to pay fees and stuff. Of course, teachers are overwhelmed, and there are many students in classrooms that don't have access to proper education and quality education. But it's something that can be solved by creating more room for students through building of more schools, access to more teachers, and more high schools.
Cindy, how are you going to use the money allocated for your constituency?
I mean, one of the key things, really, number one is education. Really, we need to have new schools. We do not have enough schools. We have less than 15, and we have a much higher population than Dagoretti South, and they have about 20. So imagine that.
When it comes to schools, I'm always curious because the CS recently said that there's no money to give teachers a pay rise, right? That's what he said, right? There's no money to give teachers a pay rise. So is there money to fund the staffing of these new schools that you want to build?
Yes, I mean, you have the education fund and you're able to, for example, a school could say, we're going to hire extra teachers, not, full-time teachers, but as private tutors. And, they work within the school. So I believe, those are the things that, an MP can think outside the box a little bit and say, okay, the national government cannot be able to afford, but we have a kitty of 100 million. Out of this, we need to dedicate it to education and add a few more, private tutors who come and teach in the school and they teach the national curriculum.
Okay. Njambi, is that a viable option for your constituency as well?
It is, but I do believe in, legislating and formulating policies in terms of how the Teacher Service Commission is also hiring teachers. And we've seen the budgetary allocation towards education in this country needs to go higher so that we can have more teachers hired and more classrooms built so that we can be able to have our children access education and quality education. Because in an area like Ngando, which is a ward in Dagority South, doesn't have one public school, not a nursery school, not primary school, not a high school. And you have a population of about 25,000 people in that area. So the kids have to go all the way to Ngong Forest, so they have to come to Ririta Satellite, or they have to go to Kibra. And that's really far. Yeah. That's really, really far.
What about security? Do you find that there's a lot of insecurity in your constituency?
And it goes hand in hand with unemployment. Yeah. If you have young people who have no jobs, what are they going to do? They've lost hope and they need to survive. And most people, when you go to the hood, the reality on the ground is, we're very privileged to be sitting here that, Olivia, I can call you and I'll be like, yo, can you please hook me up with something? When you go to the ground and people in the hood, they have no option completely. Yes. And so when the opportunities are not presented to them and when the opportunities are taken away from them and people need to survive, people need food. You find people stealing just to put food on the table. It's a serious thing.
Recently, I had people come up to me and it's changed from, Madam, nipe kitu, nipe, somoja or whatever, to ninunulie unga.
Yes.
Over the last 5 to 10 years, what people ask strangers on the street, or if you happen to be, like Njambi said, privileged and you're shopping at Valley Arcade, and there's somebody there, they won't ask you for money.
No. Yes.
They're now saying,
just one packet.
Yeah. They ask for flour. They ask
just one jogo.
Mafuta kidogo, like whatever
jogo
it is.
too.
You see, the high cost of living is definitely detrimental to the people who live in these marginalized areas. If you look at a packet of unga going for 250 shillings, and this is someone probably who's been earning 200 shillings a day, how are they going to feed their families? They need to feed their families, they need to buy water, they need to pay fees, they need to take care of, they need to pay rent.
Yes.
So it's really, really hard for people in our communities and in our, in these households.
Do MPs have the responsibility, or can I say the authority, to regulate housing prices and rental prices in their constituency? Because I think rental prices in this country and in this city are crazy. Wait, do you have any oversight on that?
Go ahead.
Oh,
I have no idea.
There was a bill in Parliament that would have been passed to be able to regulate housing, but I would say it's such an open-ended conversation because of the different interests when it comes to housing in this country.
Yes.
Because the lawmakers themselves
are landlords.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yes. So they want to be able to control that. But it's pretty unfortunate because the people are suffering. And the people are going through it because if you have high cost of living, when it comes to rent, they have to take care of that rent. They have to buy that food. They have to take their children to school and pay school fees. It's crazy.
Cindy, before I let you go, because you allowed Njambi to join in on your session and we had this overlap, what are your parting words to me and to fellow constituents of Dagoretti North on why we should elect you if we decide to as MP?
Well, for you, being a member of my community, which I've lived in for over 20 years, is I would like to ask for your vote, which I did a few minutes ago. And the promise that I make to you and to everybody who lives in Dagoretti North, and also to myself, is that I'm going to obey and abide by the law. Everything else actually falls under that. Am I going to go beyond the law? I'll give you an example of the second actually promise that I make is that the Constitution says that an MP needs to hold one meeting every 2 years with the electorate. And I think, so in 5 years, you're going to meet your constituents twice. So that you do what? So that's the question. And, with my background, I'm like, okay, look, minimum 3 meetings per ward. And you can do that because you're in Parliament from Tuesday till Thursday. You have Monday and Friday and Saturday and Sunday. You can actually meet. Why do we meet? Because there needs to be an open channel where you can be able to discuss with the people. Niambie masila zako. What is it? What are your issues? So that we can come up with solutions that address those issues that affect you, and not me sitting up in Bunge dreaming about something that, I think it's good if we put an airport, but that's not what's ailing the people. I say to the people of Dagoretti North that if you want real change, if you want transparency, if you want accountability, then I am your person. I signed a document that was sent to me by an NGO that has been put together, and they're all about transparency and accountability. And I asked them, how many other people have signed this to say that if I do business with government or if I break the law, then I hereby buy the force.
What are some of the issues that you want to shed a light on with regards to transparency that we're supposed to hold you accountable for? Specifically, if I don't deliver on X, then we can have Y. I'm putting you there on the hot seat.
I have no problem, but I'm going to mention something that is very key. The education bursary is a huge thing. Nobody really knows how the children are selected, how much is given. Of course the child knows, or perhaps the parents, and you really don't know. My question is, why don't we know? We know the number of schools. We know the children who go to each class. We know the ones who live there. And of course, there's punity with those who live within Dagoretti North, but yet their children go to... You have the CDF fund, and part of it, you have the education fund, and out of that, you take out the bursary. So you have that amount of money. We have people who live in Dagoretti North. They've given birth in Dagoretti North. Their children go to Kibra to school, but they do not qualify because they go to a school in Kibra. But we need to be sensible. Do they live here? Why is it that they go to school in Kibra? And they should actually get a bursary.
What is the ratio? Because education seems to be a huge platform for you between public schools vis-a-vis private schools in Dagoretti North.
Well, you know that we are home to very many, the Rusingas, the Brayside, the Brayburns. There are many, and there are quite a number of other, small ones that are coming up. But I want to say this. I want to not really answer your question. I want to point out something.
I love how you say, I don't really want to answer your question.
I'm not going. I can. I want to say something which I think is key. Did you know that there was a Jomo Kenyatta University in Dagoretti North?
I did not know that.
And it sits there empty. It is not used. It has been years. You know that?
Yeah. Where is it?
Because it was not accredited. And I'm thinking, what do you mean it wasn't accredited? This is something that we need to ask ourselves. We have, the land is there, the building is there, and because it wasn't accredited for one reason or the other, it's sitting there.
Where exactly is it?
It's up, it's actually towards, it's not far away from...
Microphone.
Sorry, it's not far away from Kanda School. It's in actually the ward of Gatina.
Wait, that's Dagoretti North?
That is Dagoretti North.
That is still Dagoretti North?
ABC Place is Dagoretti North.
Okay,
Raptor Road is Dagoretti North.
Oh, wow, you have a huge...
It is huge. It is the biggest constituency in the county of Nairobi. And actually one of the richest in terms of, when you say...
Well, the president has a house there. So
can you imagine now?
Let's just end that. But thank you so much, Cindy Katilemundo, for joining me today on Double O Direct. All the best on your campaign trail, and good luck come the 9th.
Thank you. I have one more thing.
Yes.
Sorry, if you give me a minute. I was on a radio show and they said, well, women don't support one another. And I
Which women? Mumbai?
Which women are these? Where did this come from?
Yeah.
I have someone who is actually running against me. Mm-hmm. She's 25 years old. And I sit with her and say, you can't do that. If you do that, you need to think about A, B, C, D. Mm. And we are actually running. She's running against me. I'm running against her. And that's fine. Mm-hmm. But I know that there are certain things that she does at 25, really. And I'm thinking, it's good. I'm so proud of her. And so when I hear people saying, nyinyi wadada, you don't like supporting one another, I don't think that's true. I absolutely do not. You heard Njambi saying, Cindy, I'm going to take you into the hood in Dagoretti North.
Yes, and me too. We're going into the hood. Apparently, I'm a ghetto girl. I was born in Kibra. From one to another.
Spice.